Good evening, everybody. Gotta check my internet connection to see what's going on here because it just said check my internet connection. So I was just checking to make sure I'm alive. I'm live. Sometimes it doesn't work. Yes, I'm not live. It's saying I'm live, but I'm not live. Oh, yes, I am live. Okay. It took a minute. See, that's what happens. My computer says I'm live, but I'm sometimes I'm not. It says I'm live on here, and I'm not live on Facebook. On when I go on the phone, I'm not live. But then sometimes, it takes a minute. So it says I'm live on the Facebook, but I mean on my computer, but then Facebook, and then finally it'll pop up. I don't know when I go on my phone. It's weird, but I mean, it's the same internet connection, so it's just some kind of type of delay, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, and so it can get me confused because I'll look at, you know, Facebook on my phone and it won't be showing. So sometimes it pops up. I'm talking before it ever pops up on actually being live because I think I'm already live. So, and then sometimes I'm I'm not live and I'm sitting here talking away. I'll be halfway. I'll be in my message. I'm just talking in thin air, but I do that anyway. I preach to the devil a lot. So I mean, anyway. I hope y'all had a good day today. I just had a pretty good, pretty uneventful, restful day. So I did do some work. I was fixing to get cold, and the winter. I mean, it is and really cold. So I had to do some winterizing today. I hope everybody else has thought about doing that. I put some antifreeze in the car. I had to wrap up the water faucets and the water pipes and make sure that they're real good and insulated, so they won't freeze. So, you know, I had to make sure that there was some things done around here to make sure that, you know, we were prepared. Preparation is very important. Preparation is key to anything, to success anything, as we've been learning. And in 1 Chronicles with David with his preparation, and he said it was going to be the key to Solomon's success in building the temple. So, and I need to get a light. Because this is getting dark out here. I know the spotlights. So I hold my phone up, you can see me. But if I don't hold my phone up, you can't see me. So I need to get a light, another light out here, and that's what I'm fixing to work on next. Is another spotlight out here so it can be bright. So when I sit out here and I do my messages, y'all can actually see me, and I'm not sitting here in the dark. So. We're in the last chapter of Chronicles, 1 Chronicles, chapter 29. And the title of this message is David's Farewell, Casting Treasure at the Lord's Feet. Because it's pretty much what David did. This chapter is the climax of King David. I mean, this is everything that he worked for coming to fruition and coming to pass. And he prepared to give Solomon what he needed to build the temple. And so this chapter is dominated by the themes of generosity, God's sovereignty, worship, and succession, because it talks about how, he appeals to the people. They offer this free will offering, um, and then they end with this magnificent prayer and praise and thanksgiving. You know, as they as they anoint, they actually enthrone Solomon king. This time they make him king, and this is the final. This is the second time, but this is the final. This is actually him being enthroned as king. So it serves as a statement of true worship, stewardship, and the nature of God's eternal kingdom. Because this is how, when the kingdom, after we prepare, and the temple is built, which is the church, that God's presence will dwell with the body, with the church, and the kingdom will be established, and He will reign forever. It's eternal kingdom. So this chapter starts with David's provision and appeal. David declares the greatness of the work, and talks about how it's going to be a palace for God. It was not man. It was not for man. It was for God alone. That's what they were building this for. It was for God. And that he again talks about, Solomon's youth and inexperience, and the reason why he had to provide all this provision for him was because of that. He knew that he was not able to do the things that David knew how to do. So David took it upon himself to do that preparation work. And then he details his own personal, costly consecration above the work that he did for God. Over and above what he did as far as the provisions that he made out of all the spoils of war and all that, and everything that he did, and the organizing and everything, provisions he did for the house itself. He also demonstrated his personal devotion, because he gave everything that was his as well to the house. He gave out of his own personal wealth as well to the house. But this is a symbolic of how you gave the treasure of your heart. You give the treasure of your own heart to the Lord. It's not just that you don't just give your time and effort and provision to the work of the Lord for the Lord's sake, because you want to do well and please Him, but you also do it out of your own heart of wanting to give of yourself to God. And he challenged the leaders to consecrate themselves, willingly give to the Lord. He tries to tell them, that the leaders, that they need to do the same thing. They need to do this offering, this free will offering, to consecrate themselves, dedicate themselves to the Lord. And so, the leaders and the people actually respond enthusiastically and offer a vast amount of gold, silver, bronze, and iron. And their giving is characterized by a loyal heart and willingness, bringing them great joy. This was that good free will offering. So what David was telling them was, out of your own heart, you need to give to the Lord. And even though this was physical money, gold, this is a symbol, this is a metaphor for how we are to give out of our own willingness to give to the Lord. So it's an offering, our sacrifice of out of our own hearts. Not just as I said, not just physical wealth, money, possessions, and things like that, but but just our love and our affection to God. And our time and our talents and everything that makes us who we are, our essence, everything that makes us who we are, out of our everything that proceeds from the heart, the abundance of the heart, we're supposed to give willingly and generously to the Lord. Then it goes on to show God's absolute dominion. David blesses the Lord, exalting him as the God of Israel, and he offers this declaration of God's nature. Greatness, power, glory, victory, and majesty are all his, for everything in heaven and earth belong to him. God's sovereignty is supreme. He is exalted as head over all, and he is the source of all wealth and honor. David, at this point, David is pretty much saying everything that we have is his anyway. He has given you everything that you have. Gifts, these gifts that you have, the talents, the resources, everything that you have, it all came from God. You wouldn't have any of it without him. So it's all his anyway. So you should willingly want to give him what is his to begin with. It all belongs to him. And that's the attitude we have to have, is that everything is his anyway. So we should be grateful for it, that he gives it to us as to steward. And we can give that back to him willingly. He gave it to us willingly. We should be willing to give it back. So this shows, thanksgiving and knowledge of dependence, or humble dependency and stewardship. David offers thanks, but then expresses profound humility. He says, "Who am I? And who are my people that we should be able to offer so willingly as this?" This is being humble. He's so humble to the point that says, I am nobody that you would give me anything. The fact that you give me anything is miraculous. I am nothing. I am nothing without you giving me what I have. And that's his humility, humbling himself for the Lord. So who am I that you would choose to give me anything? Or my people, and that you would choose to give us anything? And that we would be able to give it back to you. He acknowledges that everything, he says in verse 14, everything comes from you, and we have given you only what comes from your hand. As I said, it's his anyway. It came from him. It came from his hand. You wouldn't have it if it wasn't for him. He reminds them that they are mere foreigners and strangers whose lives are fleeting, emphasizing that all their abundance belongs to God. He pretty much says that. He's like, we are just sojourners here on this earth. God has given us an allotted time period on this earth. He's given us life to live on this earth for a period of time. And he's given us provision that we need for a period of time on this earth. And if God requires something from you out of the provision that he has already given you, then you should willingly want to give that back. That's gratitude. That's being thankful and grateful for what the life that he had bestowed upon you. Then, David highlights the importance of a loyal heart. And David notes that God tests the heart and it is pleased with integrity. And he prays that the Lord would keep their hearts loyal forever and establish Solomon's heart to keep God's commands and complete the temple. He tells them, he tells them to keep a pure heart. Keep your hearts loyal to God. Don't let anything distract you from loving God, and and from doing right, and from integrity and righteousness. Don't let anything make you stray, from this work that he set us out to do for him. Especially, with regards to Solomon, he told him to keep, obedient, to stay obedient, because it was important. That's how we show God how much we love him, is through, our obedience. Then David leads the whole assembly in a final act of corporate worship, praising the Lord, and they bow down and worship God and the King. Then, immediately after that, they offer massive sacrifices and feast with great joy, and they at this point anoint or proclaim Solomon king for the second time and anoint him before the Lord. And Solomon sits on the throne of the Lord, prospering with the Lord's help as all Israel obeys him. This shows the theme of the orderly succession and divine favor. So the whole summary of this chapter, and also of Chronicles, is this comes to the culmination of David's reign, which was a reign of blessing. David was remembered because it talks about this chapter. It says that he died at a good old age, full of days, riches, and honor, and his acts were recorded for future generations. It tells about how his acts were also in Samuel, in the book 2 Samuel. Highlights David's other acts and especially with the prophets, and that Nathan and Gad, and of course Samuel, and that his whole life is in these couple books documented. But as it said, he died. It says he died full of days and riches and honor. He was blessed. He was truly blessed because he was obedient to what he had. A heart for the Lord. His whole heart was after the Lord's heart. All he wanted to do was praise the Lord. David's entire being was nothing but to please the Lord. And he wanted to do everything he asked him to do. And because of that, God blessed him. He blessed him from the beginning with Goliath. David was courageous. That courage didn't come from him. That courage came from the Lord. David fought all those battles, and he won. All those victories didn't come from him. It come from the Lord. And David knew it. And David was was always adamant to express that everything he did was not him, it was the Lord. Because David was humble, and David was thankful. So this chapter provides a powerful conclusion to the story of David, placing the focus squarely on the sovereignty of God and the importance of a willing heart. And the biblical narrative of this chapter solidifies the Davidic covenant. Solomon's reign is presented as a partial fulfillment of God's promise of an eternal dynasty, with Solomon sitting on the throne of the Lord. This points forward to the Messiah, the ultimate son of David, whose kingdom would truly be eternal. The chapter relates to the gospel by highlighting the radical nature of generosity as a response to God's prior generosity. David's confession, "Everything comes from you, and we have given you only what comes from your hand," is the essence of the gospel. We cannot earn God's favor. All we have, including the ability to give, is a gift. The gospel reveals that God did not just give us gold and silver, but his own Son, Jesus Christ, making our giving a joyful, grateful response to his ultimate sacrifice. Jesus is the true and greater temple, the ultimate king who reigns forever. For our spiritual growth, this chapter emphasizes stewardship, humility, and wholehearted devotion. It challenges believers to recognize that our time, talents, and treasure are not our own, but are gifts entrusted to us by our sovereign God. True spiritual growth is marked by a willing heart, expressing itself in joyful generosity and profound humble worship that exalts God alone as the source of all power, riches, and honor. When we try to make things out to be that we accomplished something or we did something out of our own effort, we take glory away from God. We're taking his glory. We're stealing, we're robbing God. Because it's not ours. Anytime we hoard resources, we're stealing, we're robbing God. Because it's not ours. Anytime we refuse to give to a person in need, we're stealing, we're robbing God. Because it's not ours. We're stewards of everything, even our very breath. It's on loan from him. And any second of any day, he can recall that loan. He can take what's rightfully his. But he don't want to take it. He wants you to give it. Because he wants your heart. He wants to see your heart. He wants to know you.